The price of silver hitting $100 an ounce. We're going to talk about that all in this video. What's up, guys? Ben Oberg back with another video. Today, we're going to talk about the price of silver. I'm going to give you my silver price analysis, and I'm backing this up based on biblical times, based on straight economics, based on a supply deficit, and based on the mining of silver and how it actually works. I think it is one of the most undervalued assets in 2025, so don't go anywhere. We're going to get straight into it right now. And before I get going here, do you own silver or gold? Let me know in the comments. And I'm not talking about the paper asset or an ETF or a stock, but physical silver or gold. Let me know in the comments. Now, Jesus wants you to have silver, and here's what I mean by that. And I'm not getting all biblical and I'm not getting all religious or anything. I just want to break down. Look at the ratio of silver compared to gold back in biblical times. We see between a 1-10 and 1-16 ratio, meaning that if you were going to buy, I don't know, some milk or hay or bread or oatmeal or whatever they did back 2,000 years ago, you would use 10 to 16 ounces of silver for every 1 ounce of gold. And history kept repeating itself, and we saw this time and time again. And then we moved on into the Roman Empire, and we see typically in the Roman Empire, if we look at trade, we look at economics, you'll see 12 to 15 ounces per silver for every 1 ounce of gold. Meaning, if I took 1 ounce of gold and I bought a horse, it would take 12 to 15 ounces of silver to do that. So again, we see that ratio hovering between 1-10, 1-16. And as time goes on, we arrive in present day where the silver price is a 1-to-100 ratio. As I make this video right now, silver's about $34 an ounce. And later on, I'm going to tell you some of the top things you can do to start buying silver on a discount, lower than you can online, anywhere you will find online. Okay. So a 1-to-100 ratio, what does that mean? Gold is $3,300 per ounce and some change. It's hit an all-time high. Now, gold is recognized by the United States Treasury as the only tier 1 asset outside of the US dollar. But what we have going on is other countries like the BRICS nations ditching our US dollar and figuring out how to use other currencies backed by hard assets that have nothing to do with the US dollar. And the BRICS nations make up 33% of the gross domestic product globally. And then we look at countries like Russia having a plan to buy $532 million of silver over the next several years. So the institutional money, the smart money, the big money is playing in the silver game. So the second reason, we look at 1, biblical times. 2, we look at Roman times. And really the third reason is if we look at modern day, that ratio has gotten so far out of check, it needs to rebalance. And you've got institutional money that's moving into silver. See, one of the things you guys really have to realize, and this is just economics 101, when you're playing in the stock market, when you're playing in retirement accounts, when you're playing in assets where your money is locked up and it's feed, look at just a retirement account, okay? You lock money away for 40 years, all right? And you're not allowed to touch it until you're 59 and a half unless you want to pay fees. That 40 years is going to ride out waves of up and down, up and down, up and down. But what happens every single time there is economic uncertainty in the stock market, in real estate, in oil? It moves back into non-yielding hard assets, gold and silver. So gold right now, for the everyday person, people can't spend $3,300 an ounce to buy 1 ounce of gold. Because if you buy any less than 1 ounce of gold, it's considered what's called fractional, which means there's a higher premium. You go buy a 1/4 ounce gold eagle, you're paying for what that gold is supposedly worth, plus a big premium. When you get into silver, it's a lot easier for anybody across the globe, developing countries, third world countries, first world countries, second world countries, to buy an ounce of silver because it's $34, right? And so gold being at $3,300, silver being at $33, the institutional money goes into it. Every time there's economic uncertainty, we look at the real estate crash of 2008, went into silver and gold. We look at COVID. We look at the pipeline being taken down in 2021, gold, silver, all right? So since the beginning of time, you can take stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, 401ks, IRAs, retirement accounts, annuities, insurance. Anytime there is a risk, where does the money flee to? Where is the only place where money is inflation proof, is inflation resistant? In non-yielding hard assets, in gold and silver. So then we have to arrive at the next point of why could silver, the price of silver, potentially hit $100, maybe even $200? Look at the industry use. Only 28% of silver mined today comes from actual silver mines, because what's happened is, as silver was really discovered in the 18th, the 19th, the 20th centuries in the United States, really in many parts of the world, those high-grade shallow deposits that were really easy to get to, they were mined out. So if you ever look at these mining towns like Virginia City, Silver City, basically every mining town in the West, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, all these mining towns, they existed for a little while and then they went away, right? And why is that? Because silver got hard to continue extracting. They got all the easy stuff. And then what had to start happening is new technology had to come in that could reach lower deposits and reach deposits that had to be more refined. And so now in present day, when we're extracting silver out of the ground, 72% of it comes out of the ground as a byproduct from a zinc mine, a copper mine, a gold mine, or some other type of mine. So we're reaching a point where we've depleted what we're actually able to really get out of the ground. And then simultaneously we move over here and we go, well, wait, so you have to look at how is silver used in industry. We've got this huge push that's like, oh my gosh, go green initiative agendas. Everybody should be just happy and hippie, and we should have EV power and solar powered toasters. And you need a shit ton of silver for solar panels, for semiconductors, for 5G, for medical equipment, for industry. There is a silver deficit. So now, again, we just return to economics 101. Supply, demand, what is that ratio? The demand is increasing exponentially for silver. It's like a plane taking off the runway, but it's starting to kind of arc like this, but we don't have a supply to keep up with that. So now it's becoming a more scarce resource. And one of my buddies and also one of my mentors when it comes to gold and silver, Andy Schechtman, said, hey, scarce assets always beat inflation. And he also said that gold, silver is wealth, okay? You don't get gold or silver to become wealthy. Gold and silver is wealth. So we have to take all of this into account in full circle, okay? And guys, before I end this video, I promise I will tell you some tips, tricks that I personally utilize to be able to get gold and silver on an immense discount. You will not find this online. You can't find it on Google. You'll pay way less. If you're loving this so far, make sure to smash that like button. And again, let me know in the comments, do you own any physical gold, any physical silver, right? Subscribe if you're brand new, because I'm going to keep you guys up to date on institutional grade investment strategies so you guys can learn how to create wealth with hard assets, escape the modern financial system, and build wealth on your own terms, not your school's terms, not mom and dad's terms, and not the bank's terms, okay? So we have to bring all of this full circle. And we go, all right, well, biblical times, the ratio was always 1 to 10, 1 to 16. Roman Empire was always 12 to 15 to 1, somewhere in there, okay? Then we have to look at hedging inflation. Then we have to look at every single economic collapse of the stock market. Where did it go? Went into hard assets. Then we have to look at countries, Federal Reserves, world banks stocking up on silver like Russia's plan to buy $532 million worth. And then we have to look at actually extracting it out of the ground and going, well, gosh, we can't really get more at a cost-effective rate. So kind of what's out there is what's out there, and it's going to continue being bought up, kind of like Bitcoin does. So we then are able to start giving a silver price analysis and understand that this 1 to 100 ratio that we're living at presently today means that silver is immensely undervalued. Just do the math. If we simply return to history, if you've ever heard of that expression, history repeats itself, we will find that a 16 to 1 ratio gold silver means silver going to $200 per ounce. So is it outlandish? I don't think so. I think silver is one of the most discounted assets that you could get into in 2025. That's why I'm a fan of hard assets. That's why you see me in vehicles that appreciate all the time, like the RS back there, because it goes up in value. I can drive it pretty much every day. I mean, it's my daily driver most of the time, unless it's raining like it is today, and it goes up in value, right? So I buy silver, and I buy silver every single month, and I buy gold every single month. But what I'm looking at right now is gold is an all-time high. Does that mean it's a bad investment? No, not necessarily by any means. I will keep buying it. But I look at silver and I look at history and I look at all the points that we've talked about today, and I see it as immensely undervalued. So my not financial advice recommendation is start stocking up on some silver, and don't just do it once. Do it every single month, even if it's a couple $100 here or a few $100, or if you're, a little bit more savvy and able to invest at a little bit higher level, be buying 7 figures a year. Again, that is my not financial advice. Now, what are my tips on actually being able to get silver on discount? Okay. Well, when you go online and you buy silver or gold or platinum or any of those precious metals, you're buying from a middleman of a middleman of a middleman of a middleman. Okay. And so if you go on Google, what you're paying there is really a retail price, and you don't have to. So what you want to look at is a licensed reseller of the United States Mint, and there's only 27 of those. It's an appointed position, okay? So it's pretty special to be awarded that privilege, and there's all these different levels of criteria that you need to meet, and one of those is volume. And obviously, the higher the volume a vendor is, the lower they're able to get inventory for, and if they choose to, that means they can sell it to you at a discount. So you want to work with one of the 27 licensed resellers of the US Mint. Now, I actually work with one inside the Capitalist Network, and I'm going to leave a link for you guys in the description on the Capitalist Network here, where TCN, we call it TCN for short, TCN members are able to actually work with one of these licensed resellers that's already the cheapest prices out there and get them for even less just for being a TCN member. And what the Capitalist Network is my network of multimillionaire and billionaire institutional grade investors that mentor you and help you get access to the same exact financial strategies that they are using to build their wealth. We don't work with financial advisors that make $100,000 a year. I'm not interested in getting my money advice from somebody that's broke. I'm not interested in getting my advice from advisors that literally are happy to only lose their clients 8% annually when I'm making 30, 40, 50% of my money every single year, and I'm putting it in assets I can leverage that continue going up in value every year and allow me to pay less taxes every single year. So we teach you how to acquire hard assets, get lines of credit against them, get access to institutional grade financial products that your economics professor and financial advisor literally do not know or have access to. And we help you build wealth on your own terms outside of the modern financial system, building cash flow on repeat and generating what we call, and realistically, quite frankly, is infinite returns. So check out that link in the description. It's $97 a month. It's very, very, very cost effective, and we expose you to everything. We do masterminds, conferences, retreats. You get a signed free copy of my book, American Mediocrity, when you become a TCN member. So it's a great community. Check it out. If it's for you, great. If it's not, completely understand. Those are my recommendations when it comes to silver. That is my silver price analysis, and that is what I think could quite frankly happen to the price of silver, maybe in 2025, maybe in 2026, but I'm stocking up on it because I see a $100 per ounce. I see maybe even a $200 per ounce silver in the not too far out near future. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.